So today we're going to handle one of the practice interview preparation kit questions on string manipulation, specifically the alternating characters question. Now it's difficulty is easy, so this shouldn't be too difficult, but we're going to go through and just give you an explanation of how and why we did certain things. So in this case, you're given a number of strings. So in this case, 5 strings, and that number could be between 1 to 10, so 1 to 10 lines, and each string can be between 1 to 10,000 characters, so 10 to the 5. And so what you're going to do is you go through the string and you have to make sure that there's no characters that are back-to-back identical. So you can't have A, B, you can only have A, B. So what they want you to do is they want you to count the number of times that you would need to delete an element. So in this case, you need to delete one of these two A's and then one of these two A's. So that'd be 2 deletions. And you have to, for example, for a string like this, that would be 3 deletions because you can't have any repeating, right? For 5 B's, 4 of them need to be deleted, and so on. And so, for example, for this sample input, this would be the sample output. So in this case, feel free to pause and just see that you understand the basic premise of the question. So we're going to continue. So in this case, they've already done all the work for us in terms of importing maths, creating the inputs, looping through each one of the lines, and they call this function called alternating characters. So in this case, we're going to just start with that. We just need to return, as you can see, we need to return a result. So let's just define a count. And that count is going to be equal to 0 because we haven't deleted anything yet. So define count of deletions. And then obviously at the end of the function, we're always going to return that count. So as is, this will just return a 0. And so if we run this code, we're going to fail because, well, right now it doesn't do anything. So your output is 0, 0, 0, 0. So obviously that makes sense because we haven't defined any logic. So let's continue. Let's do a base case, length 0. So if length of s is less than 1, then we need to return 0. If length of s is equal to 1, then we return 0 as well. So we could actually even bundle this, or length of s is equal to 1. So we can bundle these. I'm assuming these conditions are proper. So if the length is less than 1, return 0 because you didn't delete anything. And if it's equal to 1, again, I don't think you should be deleting anything either. So let's move to the actual meat of the argument. So we're going to loop through the entire string. In this case, we're going to do for I in the range of our length of s minus 1. And the reason we do the minus 1 is because we're comparing the current element to the next element, as you'll see in the next logic. So we say if, so let's add some more documentation. If next element is same as current, add to count. So here we're just counting, we're not actually deleting anything. So we're going to save any operation that actually deletes from the array or keeps track of indices. We're just going to count. So we say if the s of I, so if the current element is equal to the next element, so it's I plus 1, then we know that the count needs to be incremented because if they're the same, that means you have 2 back-to-back elements, and so you need to delete one. But here we're just, like I said, marking off 1. So if we run this as is, this should actually work, and we should see the correct output. So now let's go ahead and submit the code and run all the test cases. So in this case, obviously they don't show you some of these locked cases, but we'll review the code again. We're given a function, we're given all the logic necessary to actually read the inputs and iterate over each line, and display the result through this write function. But most importantly, we're defining this alternating characters argument. So we're given a string, we initialize a count of deletion, we go over our base cases in case it's less than 1 or if it's equal to 1, and we return a 0 in that case, and then we go through each element. Now range will give you, for example, if you say range of 4, it'll give you 0, 1, 2, 3. So it'll give you 4 numbers. But because we want to stop on the third element, because we're comparing to the fourth, we subtract that extra 1. So really our range is going to return 0, 1, 2. And so we're only going to do 3 iterations. And that's why the -1 is there. And obviously we check, is my current string slice equal to my next one? So the I plus 1, if it is, we add to the count, and then at the end of looping through every single character, we just return the count. This one's nice and straightforward, but it's a good way to ease into some of the more complicated ones that will be coming up. If you have any questions, leave comments below. Otherwise, hit that like button or subscribe for more content.